In this video, I'm going to share with you a powerful package called the Tidyverse. See, the Tidyverse isn't just a package. The Tidyverse is more of a meta package. It's a collection of packages that work together in order to perform data science. The Tidyverse contains several different packages. If you wanted to install them, how would you do this? You can see on the screen here that we've got several different packages within the Tidyverse. And if we wanted to install them, we would do something like this. Install package ggplot2, install package dplyr, etc., etc. But fortunately, because these packages are designed to work together, we can just type install packages Tidyverse, and we will then install a core set of packages that then work together to perform data science. When we install .packages Tidyverse, we are going to install a core set of Tidyverse packages. But remember, there are additional Tidyverse packages that are not installed with this core set that can also help us with some specific features and functions that we might want to use in data science. Similarly, if you remember the difference between installing a package and then loading that package to use it for data science, we can also load the Tidyverse, which is going to do the equivalent of loading 7 or 8 different libraries that then are going to be useful for data science. If you remember from our R Markdown video, there's a special code chunk that we put right at the front of our R Markdown document. And this code chunk is a code chunk that we call the setup chunk. The setup chunk is good practice to include all of the libraries that you want to load when you are going to be preparing this environment for data science. The setup chunk is always run one time, and it's going to be run before any other code chunks are run. So what we can do is we can then add our code chunk for our setup chunk at the beginning of our R Markdown document. So I told you that the Tidyverse was a collection of packages that work together, and I've also then told you how you can install and load the Tidyverse. But let's go a little bit deeper and look at exactly what some of these packages are, what functions they contain, and how that helps us do data science. One of the key principles in data science is to perform something called exploratory data analysis. This is going to contain a couple of steps that are pretty common amongst all data science analytic workflows. The first thing that we're going to do is import our data. We need to bring our data sets into our computing environment. The second step is going to be to tidy our data. This is going to be some data cleaning, some data wrangling, and getting our data into what's called a tidy format. This is going to be one of the key principles of the Tidyverse ecosystem, where we're going to expect our data to be in a certain format. After the data wrangling and data cleaning steps, we then can perform this exploratory data analysis, which is going to be to transform, visualize, model, transform, visualize, model, and repeat as we explore some of our data, the observations that we have within our data, and starting to make these connections between them. The last part of this process is going to be to communicate. This is where our Markdown really shines, where we can have our reports generated from our R Markdown directly integrated within the analyses that we do. This is where the Tidyverse is going to shine. We will go into more details about the specific functions and the packages they are part of in more detail later, but I want to give you a sense of some of the features of the Tidyverse and how these work together. So the first step, importing our data, is done by a package called Reader. Reader can read CSVs or comma-separated values, TSVs, tab-separated values, or other different types of formatted tabular data. Next, in this tidy and transform, we have two different packages here. One is called tidyr and one is called dplyr. These are going to manipulate our data and put them in such a format that allows us to perform exploratory data analyses. Visualize is done by a fantastic package called ggplot, which creates graphics based on this concept of a grammar of graphics. So ggplot is going to be a very powerful data visualization tool. And finally, we won't have much time to get into this, But the modeling package called Broom is under active development in order to model and perform statistical analyses to identify patterns in our data.